Cowboys Nation, we have a lot to unpack today, and I want to start with the big picture stuff that's been haunting this team all season long. As we inch closer to hitting that 250,000 subscriber milestone, it's the perfect time to take a hard look at what's working, what isn't, and where the team needs immediate adjustments if they want to keep competing at a high level. One of the glaring issues for me has been the middle linebacker position. Kenneth Murray has been a constant presence on the field, logging 73 tackles, which sound impressive at first glance. But here's the problem. Tackles alone don't tell the story of a defensive player's impact. If anything, leading the team in tackles is a sign of how often the defense is being exposed. Over the course of all his snaps, the true high-impact plays, the ones that actually swing momentum or stop critical drives, have been shockingly few. Athleticism is the only box he checks convincingly, but football is about more than just athleticism. It's about instincts, positioning, and making plays when it counts. Right now, Murray isn't providing that. Coverage numbers are below average, and run defense is effectively non-existent. Even if you give him partial snaps alongside Logan Wilson, the reality remains that he's a negative football player, one whose presence on the field hurts more than it helps. It's time to consider alternatives, whether that's Wilson stepping into the starting role or giving younger players like Shamar James a real shot. James is raw, but his potential is tangible, and at this stage, potential beats stagnation. Murray, unfortunately, seems to have reached his ceiling. The defensive scheme itself also raises questions. Matt Eberflus has implemented a system that is intended to be bend, but don't break, but the defense is not just bending. It's breaking in critical moments. Allowing 4 touchdowns in a game while failing to force even a single turnover is a recipe for frustration. Blitzing has been inconsistent and underutilized. The Cowboys blitz roughly 26% of the time, just below league average, but the type and timing of those blitzes have been questionable. For instance, players like Oversh have proven their ability to make plays when given the opportunity, yet they are rarely utilized in these high-leverage situations. The same applies to Shamar James, who has flashes of playmaking ability but has yet to be integrated fully into the scheme. Kenneth Murray, ironically, is actually more effective as a blitzer than in his designated coverage responsibilities. Yet, the coaching staff continues to rely on zone coverages and conservative approaches that fail to maximize the talent on the field. It's hard to place confidence in a defensive system when the players capable of impact are not being positioned to do so, and this has become a recurring theme over multiple seasons. The question for Cowboys fans is whether the staff can adapt in time to salvage meaningful wins or if stubbornness will continue to define defensive struggles. Special teams also demand attention. Beyond the overall performance, it's the hidden details that are costing the team. Penalties on returns, missed assignments, and ineffective coverage contribute to lost yardage that often goes unnoticed on the stat sheet. A solid return followed by a 10-yard penalty can feel like a 50-yard swing in net field position. And these small but significant moments accumulate over the course of the season. Adjustments are needed, whether it's personnel tweaks, reassigning blockers, or experimenting with players like Sam Williams in more prominent roles. The team cannot afford to keep repeating these mistakes if they want to complement an offense that, for all its talent, has struggled with slow starts. Under Brian Schottenheimer, the offense has often found itself in early deficits, with games starting in a run-heavy fashion that leaves the Cowboys playing catch-up. In their last few outings, they were behind 6-3 at the end of the first quarter, down 21-0 midway through the second, and down 14-7 to close the first quarter against elite teams like the Chiefs. A lack of early momentum is not just an inconvenience. It shapes the entire game plan and puts immense pressure on both sides of the ball. The offense's inability to strike early exacerbates defensive weaknesses, leaving the team vulnerable to sustained drives and big plays. Cornerback play also remains an area of concern. Trayvon Diggs, when healthy, is a player with the ability to change the course of a game, but he has been inconsistent. There's a chance to unlock a better version of him if he returns in the right situations. Yet this requires trust and strategic deployment by the coaching staff. Savone Revel has shown flashes of reliability, while other options like Kalen Carson and Reddy Stewart have yet to consistently deliver at a high level. Finding the right combination of starters and backups is critical, particularly in a division where offenses exploit even minor lapses in coverage. Ultimately, the Cowboys' defense, special teams, and slow-starting offense create a delicate balance where every misstep is magnified. Adjustments in personnel, smarter utilization of talent, and a willingness to take calculated risks could alter the trajectory of the season. But time is running short, and patience is limited among fans who expect this team to perform like the storied franchise it represents. Looking at the defensive front in more detail, the Cowboys need a balance between aggressiveness and calculated risk. Players capable of generating pressure, forcing turnovers, and disrupting rhythm should be prioritized. The current approach, which often prioritizes preventing big plays over creating them, has left the team reactive rather than proactive. Blitzing patterns, coverage assignments, and the deployment of linebackers must align with the skill sets of the roster. Oversh, for example, is a weapon when utilized creatively in blitz packages, yet opportunities remain limited. The contrast between the production he achieved under previous defensive schemes and his current utilization underscores a larger systemic problem. The coaching staff has struggled to adapt schemes to player strengths. While it's natural to respect the overarching philosophy of bend, but don't break, the philosophy is futile if the defense cannot execute with discipline or fail to create high-impact moments. Teams that exploit weak run fits, poor coverage angles, and conservative blitzes expose the vulnerabilities that have become recurring narratives for this Cowboys squad. The bigger picture is clear. This team has talent, but the strategic execution, personnel decisions, and situational awareness on both defense and special teams have undermined potential success. Addressing these issues requires bold moves, whether that means benching underperforming veterans, experimenting with young talent, or taking calculated risks in play calling. Fans are watching closely, and every decision made on the field or from the sideline carries weight. As the season progresses, the team must find ways to translate talent into results, and without immediate adjustments, the same mistakes will continue to define critical moments in games. Confidence in the coaching staff, while present in theory, is being tested every week as questionable decisions and inconsistent player utilization create frustration and uncertainty. As we move deeper into the season, one of the things that stands out most about this Dallas Cowboys team is the inconsistency on both sides of the ball. Offensively, there are flashes of brilliance, but they are too often overshadowed by slow starts and a predictable approach in the early quarters. The running game, while effective at times, has dominated the opening scripts to a fault, leaving the passing game underutilized and quarterbacks forced into catch-up mode. When you are playing from behind early, the pressure to execute becomes intense, and every minor mistake is amplified. Turnovers, missed throws, and breakdowns in protection can quickly spiral into momentum swings that the Cowboys are struggling to recover from. This has been evident in several games, where the team finds itself trailing despite having talent that should allow them to compete more effectively from the opening snap. The lack of early rhythm not only burdens the offense, but also exposes the defense and special teams to extended periods on the field, which compounds fatigue and magnifies mistakes. Defensively, the situation has been equally troubling. The team's struggles in run defense are particularly glaring. Kenneth Murray, who continues to log significant snaps, has failed to anchor the middle linebacker position in a meaningful way. While tackles appear impressive on the surface, they often occur after the running back has already gained substantial yardage. The true impact plays that can flip field position or halt critical drives are rare, leaving opponents with repeated opportunities to sustain drives. Logan Wilson and Shamar James show promise as alternatives, but the coaching staff has yet to fully integrate them into situations where they could make a difference. Coverage breakdowns further exacerbate these problems, with the defensive backfield frequently left scrambling against high-powered passing attacks. The team's approach of bending, but not breaking, has not yielded positive results, as bending has become breaking. Opposing offenses are routinely converting in key moments, turning potential three-and-outs into extended drives and putting enormous pressure on the Cowboys' offense to respond immediately. Special teams, too, have been a persistent headache. Penalties on returns, miscommunication during coverage assignments, and suboptimal blocking schemes have resulted in hidden yardage losses that directly impact the field position battle. A return that should have given the Cowboys favorable field position can quickly turn into a negative play after penalties or blown assignments. Adjustments here are essential, whether that means reconfiguring personnel, giving increased reps to players like Sam Williams who have shown competence in these roles, or reevaluating overall blocking schemes. The cumulative effect of these issues on special teams can often outweigh the marginal gains made on the offensive or defensive side, and without meaningful improvements, the Cowboys are handing opponents advantages that are difficult to overcome in tightly contested games. The cornerback situation is another area that demands attention. Trayvon Diggs, when healthy, has the potential to be a game-changer, capable of shutting down elite receivers and creating turnovers. However, his inconsistency has made it difficult to rely on him in critical situations. Savone Revel has shown flashes of reliability and could serve as a stabilizing presence, while other options, such as Kalen Carson and Reddy Stewart, have failed to consistently deliver at a high level. Finding the right mix of starters and backups is essential, particularly in matchups against high-powered passing offenses. The decision to start or sit Diggs in any given game has become a critical chess move for the coaching staff, balancing potential impact against the risk of exposure. The success of the secondary will likely determine how competitive the Cowboys remain in divisional matchups and against top-tier opponents across the league. Another layer of complexity comes from defensive schematics and blitz strategies. The team's blitzing rate is slightly below league average, and the effectiveness of these blitzes has been inconsistent at best. Players with high disruptive potential, like Oversh, are not being utilized in situations that maximize their strengths, leaving their ability to impact the game significantly underexploited. Sheamar James has also shown glimpses of playmaking ability in limited opportunities, but remains on the periphery of the defensive strategy. The coaching staff's reliance on zone coverage and conservative play calling has left the defense reactive rather than proactive. When the team does attempt blitzes, they often target positions or players in ways that do not align with the individual skill sets, leading to negative outcomes and frustration for fans who can see the mismatch between talent and deployment. The question remains whether the staff can adjust in real time and align their scheme with the abilities of their roster, or if they will continue to repeat the same strategic errors week after week. Offensively, there is also the challenge of establishing tempo and balance. The Cowboys' reliance on a run-heavy opening approach has led to deficits in the early stages of games, which then forces the offense to abandon their rhythm in an attempt to catch up. In recent games, the team has found itself trailing by significant margins in the first quarter and throughout the early part of the second. These early deficits create pressure, force predictable play calling, and increase the likelihood of mistakes, particularly in high-leverage situations. Quarterbacks are pressured to make plays under duress. Receivers are forced into tight coverage, and the offensive line faces more extended stints on the field without a chance to rotate or recover. The combination of these factors compounds the team's struggles on both sides of the ball, reinforcing the cycle of inconsistency that has plagued the season. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Whispers are rippling through league circles as word spreads that linebacker C.J. MOSLEY has put pen to paper with the Dallas Cowboys, a move that has set off a storm of speculation about what this means for a defense long searching for both identity and stability. Nothing is officially confirmed by team executives, yet insiders close to the situation insist the deal is real, and the buzz inside the Cowboys facility is that MOSLEY's arrival could shift the balance of power in the NFC. Observers are already dissecting the potential impact. Some believe MOSLEY brings exactly the kind of leadership the Dallas front seven has lacked since its most imposing voices moved on. His reputation as a field general, a player who diagnoses offensive schemes before the snap and commands respect in the huddle, has analysts suggesting that the Cowboys may be reshaping their defensive philosophy around him. Coaches, according to murmurs coming from behind closed doors, see MOSLEY as the type of veteran who could elevate the players around him simply through presence and preparation. There's also quiet talk about how MOSLEY fits into the Cowboys' evolving defensive structure. Rumor has it that the coaching staff is already tweaking alignments, imagining how his instinct against the run and sharpness in zone coverage could free up younger players to thrive in more aggressive roles. Personnel staff seem convinced that MOSLEY's football IQ will allow the team to disguise looks they previously avoided, giving Dallas flexibility it has lacked in recent seasons. Even within the locker room, the chatter suggests a jolt of energy. Younger defenders reportedly view the signing as a signal that the franchise is serious about contending, while veterans see an experienced stabilizer arriving at a moment when a unit needs clarity. Whether or not these whispers prove entirely accurate, one thing is clear. The idea of C.J. MOSLEY wearing a star on his helmet has already ignited a wave of expectation. And for now, the league waits to see if this quiet tremor becomes a seismic shift. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.